Good evening, everybody, and welcome to my kitchen. I'm Eddie Marrero. Tonight, I'm going to show you how to make a dish called Sancocho. Sancocho is a traditional soup that can be found throughout parts of Latin America and the Caribbean. It's very popular in places like Puerto Rico, Honduras, Ecuador, Cuba, Dominican Republic, Venezuela, Trinidad and Tobago, to name a few. It's a traditional soup, very heavy, and it's made primarily of large chunks of meat, vegetables, and roots like plantains and yuca, cassava, which I'll be making tonight. And I'll be adding some carrots into mine as well. So it's a traditional heavy soup, very flavorful, and it's a popular national dish throughout many of those countries and locations that I've just mentioned to you. So I thought it's important that during this month of Black History Month that we take a moment to remember that we are more similar than we are different. Nothing separates us but just the boat stop, as far as I'm concerned. So this is the cassava. For those of you who are not familiar what a cassava is, this is yuca. It is a root grown in the ground. Very, very good. We use it throughout much of the Caribbean and in Africa in many of our dishes. And of course, the plantain, a cousin to the banana, okay? And this is also very, very good, very, very heavy. And I'm going to be using some organic carrots that I picked up at Whole Foods. So let's get started, all right? So what first you need to do is you gotta make sure you got yourself a good old cast iron pot to make this traditional soup in. I guess you can use any pot you got, but I like the way it burns and cooks in this type of pot. So I'm gonna start with the cutting board here, and I'm gonna start by getting these peeled. I'll start with the cassava because usually the hardest thing to do, you know, you see that the skin is very, very, very hard, very hard. Looks like that when you cut it open. Let me point the camera down so you take a look at what I'm doing. There you go. You can get these in some supermarkets. They're already peeled, cut, and frozen. Saves a lot of time. I'm doing the old school way and just getting it fresh, and doesn't take much. I'm not doing a lot of yuca. If I was making, like, let's say pasteles, if you're familiar with what that is, and it requires a lot of the cassava, then I would buy the frozen ones. But it's just soup. I can peel this very quickly, so I didn't want to bother with that. Besides, it's cheaper to buy it this way than buying the frozen and peeled, because you're paying for all that labor. So why not use a little of your own labor and save yourself some money? And sometimes you'll get that. See, it's not necessarily bad, but you can just cut it right out. Imperfections in the cassava. It happens. It happens. Okay. It does make a mess of, you know, all the stuff you're peeling off that skin. So I got one done, so I'll put that to the side. Do the other one. As you can see, it goes pretty quick. I remember doing this as a kid with a old school peeler at my parents' house, and the peeler was terrible. My God, I remember used to getting cut all the time. So if you got a really good peeler, save yourself all the cuts on your fingers. There you go. This is a little workout. My arms are... Wow. God. Okay. All right, so we got the other one done. Let's put those to the side. I'm gonna clear off this mess here so I can work on the plantains, and then I'll show you what needs to get done. I like to put everything, get it nice and clean before I proceed. Okay. All right. And a quick rinse. All right. All right. So, got my plantain. Okay. So this, we like to cut the tips off, both ends. Where's a good knife? Okay. Good knife. Okay. So you're basically going to, okay, make sure my camera don't fall here. So we're gonna cut, you see this, there you go. So you're gonna cut both ends here. All right. And then you're gonna score it. Just make a, see that line there? And then just get your finger in. There you go. And just peel away. Pull it back. I'll show you a trick to this. I'll do it with the other ones. There you go. There you go. See? Done. There's a one. I'll do the same thing. You're gonna cut. And you're gonna score it. There's your line. And then just get under. Okay. It's two. Whew. Okay, getting my camera ready to fix that there. Okay. All right. Ooh. many people are surprised to learn, both in Africa as well as in the Caribbean, that these items, these food items, are not indigenous to the Caribbean. That these actually were brought by African slaves during the I won't say during the time of Columbus, even though it was, but even preceding that, because there were many explorers and traders that made it to the New World, if you will, well before Columbus, and brought with them plantains and cassava, all the things that we find in Africa that are part of our diet. So if you are from the Caribbean, any place, Dominican Republic, Cuba, you know, we like to say that we hold on to our identities, but you know what? At the end of the day, we are really African. We're African. This is African. If this is in your diet, the plantain, if this is in your diet, if you grew up eating this, you are an African. The same goes for the yuca, for the cassava. If you grew up eating this, you are an African. Let there be no question. Yes, you may be Puerto Rican, you may be Dominican, Cuban, or anything else in the Caribbean, but you are, at the end of the day, an African. So let us remember that during this Black History Month. We have more in common than we realize. We cook food differently. We might call it different things, but the same, at the end of the day, we're pretty much in the same pot. Sancocho, like we're making tonight. One big kitchen pot, right? So what are we doing now? All right, we're gonna cut this. Now this cassava is really hard to cut. So I'm using a cleaver. So please be careful when you're cutting these. There you go. All right. Okay. Rough chop. And that's okay, because all of these chunks that you see here for this cassava, let me fix this. All of these chunks that you are seeing, they are going to get very soft in that soup. They'll be very, very flavorful. Okay. All right. And I'm going to show you we want to cut these at a diagonal, an inch apart. Plantains diagonally about an inch apart. Okay. All right, that's done. Now to the carrots. Okay. Now you don't have to put carrots in this. I like to put carrots in it. Sometimes I like to put corn on the cob. You know, a couple of pieces of corn on the cob. I like to do that. Now these are organic carrots that I picked up at Whole Foods. Cut the tips off. You don't want that in the soup. Okay. All right. And again, go back to your peeler and just real quick, just take that top layer, that top skin off. that we don't want anyway because it's dull and ugly and dirty. So just do that for all these 3 pieces here. And it's gonna be an easy, so you can see I'm doing it right into the sink. It's going to be an easy, a rough cut of the carrots. But what I like, why I like putting carrots in my sancocho is because it sweetens it up. It gives it a nice sweeter flavor. Not that the soup is sweet, but it gives it a nice hint of sweetness to it. Okay, the last one. And it's also very, adds color to the dish. So I like my food to be vibrant and have color. At least give it a pop of color. So that's that. I'm going to just cut the other tips off. Okay, turn the camera back around. I don't have a camera crew here. I gotta do it all myself. So we're gonna do a rough cut here. Same thing. My phone is falling. Okay, where am I? All right, here we go. So. Right, okay. All right. So after I slice them, I want to cut these down a little further because these are kind of, when you're doing carrots, I'm cutting the carrots even thinner because I don't like to have a big chunks and they're kind of hard to eat. And, well, actually, I shouldn't say hard to eat. It's not difficult to eat if you got good teeth. So I am taking some of this sancocho tomorrow to the nursing home where my mom is at. And, oh Lord, I am going to take this sancocho, at least some of it, to the nursing home where my mother is at. And her teeth are pretty shot. So I want to make it as simple and smooth as possible for her to be able to enjoy it. So a little smaller pieces will help make the sancocho, these carrots, a little bit more easier to eat. Oh, fuck. What's going on here? Why are you giving me a hard time? All right, here we go. All right, here we go. So I'm just taking these cubes and I'm just cutting them in half. I think they might be just a little bit too big for her to be able to eat. Yeah. This is easier. Yeah. And what I'll do is I will make, this is traditionally, you can eat it like this when soup is made, just these vegetables and the plantains and the cassava, or you can traditionally serve with white rice on the side, and you can just eat the soup with the rice. So now we have the cassava. Cut these down some more as well. These are way too big. Yeah. Oh my. We're experiencing technical difficulties in the kitchen. All right. That's about it. All right. So now you'll see that I have the all chopped up. All right. And that's what it should look like. Now, okay, here we go. Whew. All right. So first thing we're gonna do, we're going to turn this around so we can see what I'm doing here, right? So I'm gonna turn this on. Okay. I don't put it too high. Put it down to medium because this kind of pot gets hot very, very quickly. So I like to start with a little bit of olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. I'm using Goya, which is, I grew up on this stuff, extra virgin olive oil. Spain, a little bit there. Show you what that looks like. All right, there we go. So that's getting hot. I'm going to add some garlic and some adobo as a base. This is my homemade adobo. So basically adobo is just made up of onions, peppers, chopped up onions, peppers, cilantro, and garlic, and some other stuff there. Can't tell you all the secrets, but I'll fill you in, give you a little idea of what's happening here. And that's getting hot already. And while that's getting good, I'm taking the meat out of the refrigerator. Okay, let me turn this around. So, can you see? Yes, okay, great. So, wait. For this sancocho, I'm just using cubes of ground beef. This is a pound. It's a pound of ground beef, cubed. You can see that, cubed ground beef that I picked up at Whole Foods, and I'm just going to season that with adobo. Okay, adobo is my Puerto Rican traditional. We grew up on this stuff. A mixture of seasonings. I like to get that going. All right, now this is hot. All right. Okay. So I'm going to throw some garlic in here first. Okay. Saute some garlic. And to this garlic, once it gets a little bit golden, then I'm going to add my meat to it. And it's getting golden, if you can see that here. All right. I don't want to leave that on there too long. I don't want my garlic to burn. I just want it just to saute it a little bit. And now I'm just going to add my beef to it. I like to brown it. Give it some color. Let it absorb some of that beautiful garlic in there. Okay, so I was just cleaning up the mess in the sink from the cassava and the plantains, throwing that out. So I like to brown the meat, get it nice and even. It'll absorb all that flavor. Just to help that along, I'm going to put the lid on to seal the flavor of that garlic into the beef. Okay. Now I'm going to add stock to this sancocho. I'll be using some chicken stock, as well as I'll be adding my sofrito in here, and I'll be also adding some tomato sauce and some other seasonings, some water, and chicken stock. But while that's doing, you cannot cook. You cannot just cook and not have a drink. So I have still leftover from the holidays coquito that I had made and sold. I sold 2 cases of these. If you don't know, coquito is a traditional Christmas drink during the holidays, made with rum and a lot of other coconut milks and creams that I can't tell you about. I mean, I could, but then I have to kill you. We don't want to have that to happen. So this is my famous coquito. This bottle sells, this is a 750 millimeter bottle, sells for $40. So if you want your bottle for next year, in advance, contact me and I'll get this for you. I'll get it done for you. So I'm going to have a little bit of coquito, and let me tell you, this is, wow. Lord. I'm going to pour that into, it's important that you find the right glass. And I'm going to pour mine into a champagne flute, because I'm bougie that way. Coquito. Woo! Feels like Christmas. Yes. I might get drunk before I finish this sancocho. But look at this. Okay? So now see how nice and even that is? So now we're gonna add my sofrito. It's not a lot here, so I'm gonna probably pour the whole thing. I gotta make some more. Although this is enough for this soup. Okay. Get this coquita out of the way. All right. So let's get this in. I need a can opener. Okay, so I'm going to be using one small can of tomato sauce. You could use any brand, doesn't matter. Okay. This is 8 ounces tomato sauce. Okay. Give that a nice stir. All right. Okay. And now I'm going to use a packet of sazon with cilantro and achote. This also gives it more seasoning and color. It's a deep red color there, which I love. One of my favorite colors. Ooh, okay. Sure that's not on my shirt. Okay. Look at that, it's gorgeous. Gorgeous. All right, now I'm gonna just start adding chunks of the cassava. And the plantains. And not to worry, it looks like a lot. This will all cook down and will be very, very heavy. So now I'm going to add the chicken stock. To that. Okay. So, what I've just realized is that this pot is too small for this large stock of making. So I don't want this to things happen in the kitchen sometimes, so not to worry. think it was gonna be that big. I got a bigger pot. I'm just gonna transfer this over. There we go, crisis averted. There you go. So, what I'll do now is add another about a quart of chicken stock to this sancocho. And of course, what you want to do, you want to taste it. It looks bigger than it is. Has a nice consistency, nice flavor. It might need just a little bit more adobo. And because the plantains and the cassava will absorb a lot of the stock, you just want to add water. You want to add water. All right. And just cover it up. And that's all there's to it. So there you have it. So now the sancocho is cooking. All right. Didn't think I had a pot that big. You'd be surprised what's under this cabinet. So I got this pot. This pot proved to be just a bit too small given all the cassava and plantains that I had. But I think this is certainly enough for what we're doing. And so now I'm gonna turn it up. Yeah, I'm gonna turn it up, let it cook on high. And that'll be it. And we're gonna come back and check on this in about a half hour, see how she's doing. All right. In the meantime, I'm going to enjoy my coquito, and I'll come back to you when we're getting close and show you the rest of this meal of how to prepare sancocho. Sancocho. All right. Say that. Sancocho. There you go. Sancocho y coquito. Here's to you. I'll talk to you later. All right, check in. Okay, and so we're back. The sancocho is finished. I'm going to just bring you over and take a look at it. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Look at all that. All that goodness. The beef, the cassava, the plantains, and carrots. All right, so I'm going to serve it up. I'm going to plate it, show you what that looks like. Okay. It's going to be very simple. Nothing fancy. Just a little bit of everything here. Some cassava. Ooh. I love cassava. It's one of my favorites. Okay. Carrots. That wonderful broth. me get a plate here. There we go. Now I made some rice. Ooh. Made a little bit of white rice. All right, and that's just going to go right on top of the soup. Not a lot, just a little bit. Just a little bit. Give it some texture. And another thing we do is you take a lime. All right, I roll it, get the juices going there. And I'm just going to cut this into quarters. Yeah. It's a nice quarter, just a little slice, okay? And what am I gonna do? Oh, I'm gonna just put that on the side there. And get some hot sauce. Gotta have the hot sauce. I'm just gonna bring this over to the table. I'll come back and get you in a minute. Okay, and here we go. Bring you to the dining room table where you can enjoy this beautiful plate of Sancocho. There we go. Beautiful. Now the lime, we just take the lime and we just squeeze that a little bit into the soup. And some hot sauce. Just to give it a little kick. And we're good to go. Let's try it. This smells amazing. Can I tell you? When I go out to the restaurants, Spanish restaurants, to buy Sancocho, on average it'll cost around $10 to $15 for a bowl of Sancocho just like this. Why pay all that money? You can make this yourself at home and have it for the entire week. 2 weeks. It keeps. So there you have it. Traditional Sancocho, a Latin American Caribbean dish. Very hearty. Here's to you. Bon appetit. Try it at home. You see what I've done. Try it. Let me know how you do. Think you'll love it. This will certainly help you sleep on a cold winter night, like we're having now here in New York on the East Coast. So it's very cold temperatures, 25 degrees. This will warm you up, warm your soul, and put you to bed. So here's to you. I'm going to enjoy my Sancocho. You have a good night. Try it at home. Take care. I'm Eddie Marrero. Good night.
Si voy para Nueva York,